Hello, everyone, and welcome to Always Faithful Nicole, episode 2 of my new podcast. So, thank you for joining me first. I really appreciate you taking the time from your day to listen to my podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to share with you my testimonies, my journey, to share God with you and how God has always, let me make that capital letter, always been a part of my life. And I thank my mother for that. And I pray that as you listen to my podcast, that you understand that God is with you. God is always there, always present. And I just want to share my faith with you in hopes of encouraging you, inspiring you, leading you to God. And you know what? Letting you know that you are not alone. It was times in my life where maybe I felt alone. I knew God was with me. It's just maybe in that moment I wanted a human touch. Just maybe sitting in my apartment when I was young in my 20s and just, kind of feeling like I was alone. Or as I went through my 30s, maybe I felt like I needed someone, right? So I just want to share my testimonies with you and my journey and my life, um, just to show you that God is always present. So today I just want to share with you a few moments from my life in Detroit, right? Just some moments in when I lived in the projects, and I want to share some moments that happened to me where God showed up, and unexpectedly, right? So one of those moments is when my youngest was born, and I think he was probably barely 3 or 4, and we were having it hard, as a lot of young moms do, young dads too, and trying to get the money together to eat, maybe making, I was making rice and pork chops, and maybe at that time giving my son the meat, and I'm just having rice, but we're eating, okay? And I remember one day, I was getting my money together to walk to the store because the store wasn't that far from where I lived. And I got my money. I think I might have had 20 bucks, and I started walking to the store, and I ran into one of my neighbors, and I said, "What y'all doing?" And they said, "We're just barbecuing right now. I'm trying to raise some money because we have a neighbor who's having it hard and we want to help them." And I said, "Oh, that's cool." And I said, "Well, I got $5, here, take this." So they said, "No, Nikki, you good. We might just have enough by now." I said, "No, I'll take that." And they said, "But you trying to go to the store and get food for your family." I said, "But I still want to help." So I gave the $5 and I went on to the store. So where I lived, you lived in different lots, right? I used to live in lot 3. And once I lost my job, I was moved over to like between lot 1 and 2. So I walked back home and I was in the house. A little time went by for the day, and one of my friends came down and said, "Hey, Nikki, is somebody down in lot 3 for you? But we didn't want to send them down to your new house because maybe you don't want them to know, where you live." So I said, "Okay, no problem." So I walked down there, and I said, "Well, where's the person at?" And they said, "Hold on." So I went over to where they were barbecuing, and I said, "Oh, y'all, everything looked good, right?" And they came over, and one of the neighbors at the time, Mr. Jimmy, an older guy, was kind of like our support. He would talk to us, when things would go bad, and just kind of guide us and let us know that we weren't alone, and just share his dreams and stuff that he would have about us, with us, right? So, in talking to my friends, they said, "We wanted to give you something." And I said, "Well, you guys said someone was here for me." They said, "No, we just did that to get you down here. We told you we were doing a barbecue for one of our neighbors that were having it hard, and that neighbor is you." I said, "Huh? Me?" And I remember the tears kind of welling up in my eyes. And they handed me an envelope with over $200 that they had collected for me and my son, right? Um, with my $5 in there. So I share that with you because I want you to know that, you know, as a young parent or a young person, you know, when you're in the thick of it, when it seems like you're alone, you're not. God will send someone or someones to help you. And it's those unexpected miracles and blessings that got me through. And I remember just crying that day thinking, wow, they were thinking about me, you know? And while living in the projects at some point became not a good thing for me, I want to make it clear that, you know, through my journey, it was times that were really good, you know, and I was supported and, you know, things were okay. And as I grew and God knew that I was ready to hear that it was time to go, He told me it's time to go. But along that journey, He also put people like Mr. Jimmy in my life. When I went through times where my utilities were off, I was struggling, you know, and I would sit on the porch and talk to Mr. Jimmy, and he would say, it's going to be okay. This is not the final destination of your life. You know, he used to tell me, I have dreams of you, and you're just kind of traveling and you're talking to people. And he said, I don't know who you're talking to. He said, but they seem like really important people and you're happy. Why do I share that with you? Because 10 plus years later or more, the job that I shared with you in my first podcast, where I told you where I moved to Florida and I got a job where I traveled for 5 years. Well, for 5 years, I was on planes and I met amazing people. I talked to amazing people from around the world, right? Um, I remember when I first got on the planes, I was scared. You know, I couldn't even look out the window. But by maybe my third or fourth flight, I'm not sure, I remember looking out the window. And I can tell you when it was, when we flew over Seattle. I remember looking out the window and I thought to myself, I'm not scared anymore. And that was so amazing to me because God said, I'm going to show you things first through people, by people talking to you like Mr. Jimmy talked to me and said, Nicole, one day you're going to see great things. You're going to be around great people. Just hold on. And then once I moved to Florida, that's exactly what happened. So as you take your journey, as you walk through your day to day, as you get up, as you turn that key in the car, or as you get on the bus or you get your ride, you know, like I was years ago, I was on the bus. I remember from pictures that I see, and I look back at those pictures and I remember thinking in that moment, what's next? You know, God knew. You know, He knew what was coming for me. You know, so I want to tell you, don't give up. Don't give in. Whatever your dream is, whatever it is that you have in your heart, whatever it is you want to do, you can do it. And as you go about your life, if you can share something with someone, like the $5 I had, I didn't know who it was for, but I shared it because in my mind, that was a blessing from me to be able to share with someone else. And if that money for that barbecue was not for me, right? That $5 would have helped in that envelope for someone else. So you never know who you're helping. And I want you to know that God always sends people along the way to help you. Whether it's someone like Mr. Jimmy talking to me to calm my soul, whether it's friends who I lived around who collected money to help me eat, whether it's one of my best friends, Nikki, who put the cooler together of food so we could take it on our journey to move to Florida. You know, I still remember when Nikki put the cooler together, she put a pound cake in there. And that pound cake carried us all the way to Florida. I think it was a 7-Up pound cake, one of the most delicious cakes I've ever had, right? Um, so if you take anything from my podcast, when they say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, you can. You know, God knows, you know, what you need. He knows your desires. You know, He put the baby birds out there, and the baby birds just fly. They were given wings, and when it's time to fly, they just do. and you were given wings. And when it's time for you to fly, you just do. And until you fly, which is just growth, you walk, you learn, you evolve, you forgive. Because some of my best experiences have been through forgiveness too, you know? So, what I pray for you is that most importantly, you know you're not alone. And I pray that, you know, you too find God and that you know that God is here for you. And that, as I said, along your journey, He's going to send someone to unexpectedly bless you, to talk to you, to encourage you, to inspire you. And remember, like I said on my last podcast, when I had throat surgery and I prayed to God about Costa Rica, God already knew that Costa Rica was in my future. And I went to Costa Rica twice, not from my own dime, from God putting me in a place of employment where I traveled and I went twice, right? So that was an unexpected blessing from a job. But I had to move from where I was at, maybe in my comfort zone, to Florida to open up the door and walk through what God had for me. He put awesome people along the path for me when I got to Florida to bless me along the way, which I'll share in my next podcast of how He did that. So I just want to remind you to always remember that you're never alone, that you're abundantly blessed, that you have skills and abilities that no one else has. And God, if you allow Him, will guide you and speak to you and show you what it is that you get to do to live the life you want to live, and let no one tell you that it's not possible, because I sit here today as a representative of what is truly possible, right? From the projects, kind of not feeling okay, being sad, wondering what am I going to do, to turning that key in that van, a 2002 Ford Windstar, taking that trip on that road on that Sunday morning, getting to Florida, and here I sit today with testimonies to share with you, real life things that happened, so you can say, well, wow, that happened to her. She did that. God did that for her. And aren't you just as special as I am, if not more so? I think you are. So I want to say God bless you. I want to say again, thank you humbly from the bottom of my heart for listening. And remember, my goal is simply to encourage, inspire, uplift, and most of all, guide you to God and let you know that you're never alone. God bless you, and thank you for listening to episode 2 of Always Faithful Nicole. Bye.